I'm Pastor Michael Pilmore, and I'll be your training host during this segment of Back to the Basics on the Holy Spirit. Now, in this lesson, we're going to begin to introduce the next and the final segment within this teaching of Back to the Basics on the Holy Spirit. And we're going to be looking at how to be led by the Holy Spirit. How to be led by the Holy Spirit. And so, I want to start out by asking you a question this evening, and that question is this. Have you ever been in a city trying to follow some sort of map or an application within that particular, like on your phone, just trying to follow, and I'm trying to pull it up, just trying to follow an application or a map or Google or something of that nature that's on your phone, and you're working on trying to get to a destination, and as you're trying to get to that destination, what happens is this. You make a wrong turn, or maybe you end up at the wrong destination. I mean, many times these electronic applications and what they call those things, maps, are easy to find and they get you to where you're going, but sometimes they make mistakes, don't they? I mean, sometimes they don't find the shortest route, sometimes they don't move in the direction, and we end up in the wrong destination. And I don't know about you, but for me, getting lost in a city that I don't know can be very frustrating, right? Getting lost in a city can be frustrating, but getting lost in life can be detrimental. Getting lost in life can be detrimental. And what we have to do is we have to take time to get guidance from God. So, do you have the necessity, or do you have a need to get guidance from God in your life? And how do you know which way to go at the crossroads when you finally get to a crossroads in life? When you're facing the crossroads, what do you do? What do you do? How do you find God's will for your life? How do you find God's will? That's a great question, isn't it? Some of you may be asking that tonight. Well, what are the specific answers you need for specific questions that are not spelled out in black and white in the Word of God? I would think another great question would be, how do you know God's will on things like maybe who to marry, what job to take, what house to buy, what car to buy? There's just a lot of great decisions that we make in life sometimes that we really need God's wisdom on. How do we hear from God when it comes to making decisions regarding the people, places, or things that fill our life? All these questions can and will be answered with one single phrase: led. Be led by the Holy Spirit. Be led by the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is the best guide. He's the best guide that we have. I mean, have you ever been on a tour? I mean, we live in a destination city. San Antonio is considered a destination city. And there's a lot of tours. If you go downtown, there's all kinds of tours that you can go on. But, I mean, have you ever been on a tour at an unfamiliar place? Maybe a museum, college campus, aquarium, SeaWorld, even traveling to a foreign nation. How about even we could move to a new city, man? Unfamiliar places. And when you're in these unfamiliar places, it's nice to have help, right? And I'll tell you, it's nice when you're traveling in an unfamiliar destination to have a tour guide. And a tour guide, most of the time, are extremely knowledgeable and well-versed in everything that we would need to know to enjoy the tour. I mean, not only do they have superior knowledge, I have found that most of the time that tour guides love to share their knowledge. When I was in Israel back in 2013, we spent 10 days with a tour guide. And they took us to all these great sites and to all these places. They knew the city of Jerusalem very well. They knew the country of Israel very well. They knew the history of it very well. Our tour guide had been part of the 7-Day War and had inside information to some of the things that maybe historians couldn't tell us. And it was just very interesting, very factual, and very, very, very illustrative. He guided us not only into the truth, but into the places that we needed to be, the destinations that we needed to be able to see the particular things that we were able to see. And the Holy Spirit many times is a guide that will guide you into the places and destinations that you need to be to see the things you need to see. And so while the expertise of the credentialed tour guide is impressive, man, it pales in comparison to the expertise of the Holy Spirit, who is our divine tour guide through life. He has every credential. He has every credential, let me say it that way, that we could think of, an eternal number of credentials we could never even think of. He is well supplied and well versed in the history of eons ago and the futures of tomorrow. And so he knows everything past, everything present, and everything future. So he knows everything about everyone, everywhere, and with his wise and well-informed abilities, he is what I would consider the most qualified tour guide to guide us through our journey of life. And with the Holy Spirit as our guide, I'm telling you right now, we have a supernatural advantage. So sit back and enjoy these next couple of weeks of lessons on yielding to the Holy Spirit, or being led of the Holy Spirit. And we are going to grow together to hear how to be led by the Spirit of God. Now, this concludes this particular segment and lesson on Back to the Basics on the Holy Spirit. And thank you for allowing me to introduce this subject of being led by the Holy Spirit, because in our next lesson, we're going to look at what the Bible tells us about being led by the Holy Spirit. We're actually going to get in and look at some of God's Word on the subject as well. So I'm Pastor Michael Pilmore. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. God bless you.